Hello, Tracy here. Welcome back to my channel. So as promised, here's a room tour. So you come into that door. I've got it shut because the dogs all want to be in here. Down below is all my ledger paper, sari silk. And then up here I have all my eyelets. And then I've got this really cool Coca-Cola. I'm not even sure where it came from. I've got some empty-ish jars, so I might actually put some more flowers in there. Going down, we have some pianola rolls. The first three I'm not going to use, but I do have more over there. In the drawers, chock-a-block full of yummy beads. There's some eyelets in there too, which are different colour to the ones at the top. That's why they're in that drawer. In here we have like page corner things. We have brads. I think some of these, there's more beads. There's all sorts in here. And then underneath I've got two of these big embroidery containers. Now, I've got heaps of them because I used to cross stitch in my younger years, and this I have decided to put into my slow stitch. So this is my slow stitch drawer. Then moving around, I have this set of drawers, which are a little bit messier, but they're a lot tidier than what they were. So I brought these, which were fantastic. I've got 6 of them. So in here we have the beautiful music page that I showed a couple days ago. I've got Stamperia, Tim Holtz, 49 Market are my main ones. We have random. Then we have envelopes for soft cover journals. We have a whole lot of manila folders that are different colours. We have some bits and pieces of paper that can go in journals, and then we've got some ledgers and some books, some really cool, I think that's a book from England. And then sitting on top is this lovely array of journals. So the first one was from Kate, and that's my very first journal that I got from someone else. Absolutely adore it, and I use it as my reference book. This one's from Sue. It's one of those flip-flop journals. I've put it up on display because it's a journal that I will never ever do. I just don't have the patience. So absolutely love that. Pauline sends me journals all the time. So they're in a different room. This one here, I've got this one out because I don't write in journals. I started off journaling with the intention to write in them, but I don't. But this is the only journal that I write in, is the one from Pauline, and I put down gifts for people or ideas for people, that sort of thing, and what I'm going to do each Christmas. And then we have one from Tania Lee. We did a swap. And Tania's got, like, all these ladies have got completely different style to me, which I love. And I constantly look at them. And then I've got my 2 own journals. So one's a pianola roll journal. And then I've got my corset journal, Christmas one. So I swapped these 2 around because I've got a few for sale in my other wardrobe, but I haven't put them on my Etsy store. So I like to look at them occasionally, so I leave them out just to remind myself I've got them and I've got to put them on the Etsy store at some stage. Or they've been on and haven't sold. I don't leave them on Etsy forever and a day. And so we go into this drawer, which is full of glues and just gesso, that sort of thing. And then we have paints, gelatos, yeah, all that sort of yumminess. This is the drawer that I go to if I decide I'm going to do like bags. So I'll go in here and grab some bags out. What else is there? I think there's seed pockets and things like that in here. This is my tag, what I keep my tags in. Put that in here. This is what I keep my tags in, journal cards. I think there's guest checks in there. this here is like patterned paper. So I've got a whole lot of patterned paper in there. Vellum envelopes. These are all old envelopes that I got given a box, and I've actually got some more drawers full of them. So some of them are quite interesting. A lot of these ones here are full of stamps. I've got stamps coming out my ears, really. This is all my ephemera that I've made that needs decorating still. That whole lot. And same with that over there. Then we go to the next drawer. So these are all tags, journal cards, that sort of yumminess. These are all pockets, so I can just come here at any stage and, yeah, pick out anything that I want. If I see something there that will match a journal that I'm making. That's my Christmas made ephemera that just sits there. That's my cat, my pin cat that Tracy Wood sent me. And then this is my Pauline container. I've actually got another Pauline container somewhere, but yeah, I can't find it, but I'm sure I will. I'm pretty sure I've got it in another wardrobe, but these are the ones I keep out that I think, oh yeah, that's a really cool idea. I'll do that at some stage. And then this is just all full of envelopes. There's vintage email envelopes, there's tea-dyed CD envelopes, all sorts. And then the bottom drawer is full of wallpaper. These are all empty. These 3 are full of flowers, punches, and some books. So that's my drawer. Then we go on to the embarrassing part. Now this, you all know I love my lace. So let's start at the top. There's the overflow of books that I have. I have a whole separate area for my books. I've got 3 shelving full of books. So these were the overflow. So this one here is full of doilies. The top one's full of doilies that you can just see. That one's full of, it is more your embroidery type doilies. So so that one's more material. That there is full of goodies from Which Craft Do You Do. That's the antique German lace bin. Then I've got a whole lot of goodies from Which Craft Do You Do, the papers and bits and bobs, and Timu ribbons, which I tend to use for closures or something if I can't find something on hand. And then we have like this, which is my washi container. This is full of vintage stuff. It's probably what I'll go to once my small container's finished on my desk, which you'll see in a minute. This is full of smaller laces. This is full of coloured laces. So I'm very colour orientated, I think, because I've separated them. This is my wax stamp stuff, which I've had forever and haven't done anything about. This is all my ephemera, vintage ephemera I've picked up or been gifted over time. This is my slow stitched. I'm not going to open them up because I'd be here forever and it's really hard holding on to the camera. But this is all my, when I was cleaning up, I had like small bits and bobs and I really liked a lot of them, or I could see myself cutting it up and using it in a slow stitched needle book or something like that, which is what my intention is. This here, next one, is full of smaller pieces of material, as is this, but this is more like I've got pinks there, blues there. I want to do a baby journal. So this one here has like bigger material with things in mind. And then we have more antique lace, but then I've got some lace there from Which Craft Do You Do. Going down, we have got all this beautiful old vintage lace that I actually filmed not very long ago, so that's how much. Plus there was some other vintage lace hanging around. The next one is off saris, all that pretty work, and that's all the embroidery on glaze and my 49 and market. box that's full of 49er Market. I think it was for their birthday celebration, and I just had to have it. So that's been sitting there for ages. And then down on the floor, this is full of kits, which who knows if I'll ever use. I've got my laminator, couple material books. This is my stamp book full of stamps. I've got some more material there that I need to go through and get rid of probably. I've got one of these horrible plastic trolleys. Anyone that's got them knows what I mean. It's got wheels on the back, and you go to pull it out and it comes off its runner, and then it goes backwards and forwards. It doesn't stand straight, so I do need to find a proper set of drawers, just a tall boy or something that's got about, be good to have about 7 drawers or something. These are all my unfinished journals, unfortunately. So let's have a quick look through here. This is all my trims from wedding dresses and things like that. This is full of fussy cuts and Tracy Fox, that sort of thing that I need to cut out. Then we have, this is full of 49er Market, which it wasn't lost. I knew I had it, I just didn't know where. 49er Market. This is Project Life, so this is full of Project Life, and then I found these. So that's rub-ons, but I found these in my clean-up too. So this is like tissue paper. Oops, now that's going to go everywhere. So we've got that. Let me pick this up because that would be a shame to leave it there after I've been cleaning up. Here we go. Let's put it back in here. So yeah, we've got that tissue paper, that, and that. So I think I bought that from my local scrapbooking place. Oh, stay in there. That's my sewing one, for I want to do a sewing one. Doilies, music paper, which probably need to go in another bin. Stamps, cardboard, and vellum. So that is the wardrobe. Let's shut that. Then I've got this. So underneath that box is full of lace from Vintage Pear, and sitting on top of lace from, is it Wishes to Weeds or Weeds to Wishes, that I brought off Nancy quite a while ago. Then we have another box full of lace. So it's sitting right beside me if I want to grab it. This here is my glue stick, gun and glue from Valerie. And then we have all my yummy dyed paper. This is like wrapping paper that I've cut, that I absolutely love, ready to go in journals. This is just bits and bobs from that I've been given over time that I can use. And this scrummy paper here is from Sylvia, my neighbour, who has got into dyeing things. So I've given her some inks to play with. So let's see how she goes with that. But anyone that's sort of wondering what they can dye, she did these, and I would have never thought of doing these. These are from those colouring in books, the adult colouring in books. I think they're really neat. So that was really awesome. Then we have this thing, which I will probably never go into unless I really want to. These really cool Christmas decorations, which I thought I might see if I can put one on a needle book or something, like maybe undo it so it hasn't got the padding, who knows. Tassels. This is my own, well, not my journal, but this is one of the Pianola Rolls journals that I did, and every time I do an ephemera make on a Saturday or Sunday or whenever, I always put one in here. So it's basically like the one I've got from Kate. It's my working journal where I put ideas in, and the idea is once it's full and I'm happy, I'm actually going to sell it as a journal, you know, as an idea journal for some lucky person to nab. These here are my scrapbook paper, music paper, written paper, what's the other ones? My backing paper or fly paper, so the plain paper that I can use on the back of tags, journal cards and things. And then, yeah, my journal paper, my my kits, anything left over from them, or you know, you can get some kits that are just like random paper, so I chuck them in there. So on the desk is what I'm working on. This is my container. Look how small that is compared to, I couldn't see this at all. This was absolutely covered, every surface, and I've got it down to that. So I'm so proud. Although there is some material in here, but I'm going to sort through that still, get rid of the material, put it in the container in the wardrobe if I can fit it, and I'll grab some lacy stuff out. So I want this full, and then when it gets halfway, then I'll top it up. But until then, this is all I'm allowed. This is the journal I'm working on, and all the bits and pieces are in there. So this is where the magic happens and where I film, and that's my view, which is stunning. I see the wax eyes and the parrots and tuis and things like that. So you can see it's autumn. It's a beautiful day out there today. So, yep, I've got bits and bobs in there. Makes no rhyme or reason. Haven't labelled them. Didn't think I really needed to. But we've got my scissors. I used to collect blue willow, so that's why I've got a lot of blue stuff, and I love blue. We've got little tags in there that I can add to bulb pins. We've got bulb pins in there and labels and stamps, and that's going to be for my little bits and pieces, like little doilies or little bits of scraps sort of thing. And this is what I worked on last night. The background papers from Paper Cameo, and then we have Polka Art Studio, was these images. We have TaylorMade journals, are these two, and then Miramis, a small art, Botanica. So that's that. My cutter, which I absolutely love. I finally found one big enough to, well, small enough so I can use and film. Then we've got some more. I've labelled a few, but I don't know if they're correct. I need to go back and look. And then my glue book and rubbish bin sits there. These I finished about 2 weekends ago. So I've got one that has like birds in it. So they were in little containers, but I didn't like them in the containers. And then at the back, they've got butterflies. Oops. And butterfly stickers, that sort of thing. So that's that one. And the other one is my flower one, and flower and mushrooms. This is like people have what's in my box for crafting. That's started ephemera and not finished, and then we've got all my pens and doodaki stuff. These are what I have been collecting that I've been showing you, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so far. So those ones have got Tracy Fox, Polka Art Studio, Pixie Dust Files, and a few others which I haven't named. That Girl's Own Annual has got Christmas ephemera in it, and that's where I do my filming, well, where I put my film on. This is ephemera holder, ephemera holder, ephemera holder, holiday, write everything down. So this is sort of like my scrap folder. So I've got my cluster books in there. I have got my Happy Mail form, which I go along and cross off when I've sent something to someone. This is my Marie Marta, her books. So I've got a few of those. I think 3 of those came from Valerie. So super stoked with that. Butterflies to, I don't even know who that's from. So then we go on to like Artie May's Artful Gallery, Which Craft Do You Do are in there. Roxy Creations, Emma T. Bloom, Chapter 1 papers. And Roxy Creation is not only printouts, it's also her papers that you can buy. We have some journal covers, which I've covered but haven't done the inside. They're just there in case I want to grab them. And then we've got TaylorMade journals all on our own. If I've got room, if she stops bringing stuff out for me to buy, I might actually be able to fit in the paper cameo in there, but then I think I'm going to buy quite a few of hers too. So swinging back around, this is going to be a long video. I didn't think it would. That's like my cutlery drawer. That is like my stamp drawer. So these are like, I couldn't even get into. That's my stencil, embossing and cutting drawer. And then we have, let's just move that. I'm not going to open that all the way up. Then we have like those containers. So I've got quite a few containers that are still empty. That doesn't mean that I can fill them. This is another ephemera book, and there's some of my ledgers down there, which are the ones that I use mostly. I need to get rid of this green ugliness, but you can see as I've still got a lot to cut. I've been finding, so Ruby and Pearl, we've got Liana Scrap, we've got Purple Pixie Studio, that's real ephemera. So we've got all of that in there that I can just grab if I want a topper or what have you. Then we've got more of these. So that's a bit of like scrap material and things like that. Which craft do you do? Fabric rub-ons, Tim Holtz, washi, Tracy Fox, that sort of thing. And then we've got paper I can use in journals, which is all sort of old vintage stuff. We've got my sewing stuff in those. This is more paper, vintage paper. I've kept that because I want to make a journal out of it. I've kept that because I want to make a journal out of it along with that. And then that's all full. Underneath I've got a whole lot of, your refill paper, and you've got your cardboard backing. Well, at work we had to chuck out a whole lot of old refill paper, and it had different signage on it that we changed companies. So instead of throwing it all out, I got a couple of guys and said, right, rip all the backs off for me, and I took them all home. So I've got enough there to make enough journals for the rest of my life and some. That there is full of lace, vintage lace. Few more books that I couldn't find places for. I've got this from Kate. That's that stuff that Kate sells. I can't even remember what it's called, but it's like proper bookbinding stuff. And then just blank paper. That there I'm not going to show you because I haven't done the drawers in there. Printer with a couple cards. One's from Sue, one's from Kate. Pianola rolls, and then we're back to the start. So that, my friends, and I hope that you've enjoyed the tour. So later on I'll come back, but at this stage Mike's going to have a play with the vacuum cleaner that vacuums the house miraculously. So until next time, or until later on in the day, I'll see you later. Bye.